So this afternoon, we're here in northern Arkansas, the beautiful state of Arkansas. Beautiful fall day, green forest,
Yep.
just east of Berryville, and with Jake Hill. And Jake is a customer since 2020. We're talking a little bit about his operation, but I wanted to turn the video on so you guys could hear Jake's story as well. Currently, he has 2 feeders that he's employing. 3. I'm sorry. Well, yeah.
That's the 4th one.
That's the 4th.
Yeah,
okay, I'm sorry.
It's up over the hill.
All right, my bad. Jake's just bought his 4th. I just pulled a stationary 2500 out here. So that makes his second stationary.
Second stationary.
And 2 trailer mounts.
Yep.
Okay, there you go. And so Jake, tell us a little bit about your experience with solar feeders and why you're using them and how you like them.
Well, first off, I love them because I haven't had any loss to bloating. When I first started researching for automatic feeders and such was 2020 when I first started my whole finished beef operation. Got sent home from college because of COVID, and me and Dad were sitting on about 80 700-pound steers, and the market was dropping out from underneath us.
Yep.
And we were having to feed them all winter, but we had so much time and effort in them, we didn't want to give them away. And we always fed cattle for ourselves, about 5 or 6 for us and family, just via a bucket, 5-gallon bucket in this ration.
Okay.
But I started thinking, well, cattle prices are dropping and boxed beef prices are through the roof. Surely I can save somebody some money while making myself some money if I sell them direct to customer. That's where the idea happened. And I posted about it on Facebook, and the first week I sold 25 of them.
Jeez.
That I needed to finish. And I had one little red free choice 2,500-pound feeder, and so I put 10 of them on it. And that first week I lost one because he gorged himself. He couldn't keep his head out of the bucket.
Overconsumption.
And that
Yep.
corn started fermenting in him, and I didn't notice it. And one morning he's just gone. I was like, well, I can't afford to lose these if I'm going to do this.
Yep.
And so I started looking for a better option. And I found y'all, 1, because you're close, and 2, because I like the design better than I think most. And I bought this feeder, the first one, in 2020.
Alrighty.
Brought it home, liked the timer setting. I never had anything blowed on it, never had any overconsumption. I have underconsumption currently, but that's just because I actually hauled some 2 weeks ago to the butcher house.
Okay.
I do 5 at a time usually, and I put some newbies in here, and so I'm still trying to dial it in to where they're consuming exactly the right amount.
Got it.
And I kind of turn it up as we keep going.
Yep.
But that's how we started, and when I ended up selling all 80 of those in the course of a year, and now I sell close to 65 or 70. It'd be 70 next year. This year I think we're right at 65.
All right.
Direct to customer finished beef, all finished with the solar feeders. And then 22, I started a contract with my high school, and all the ground beef that they serve through the cafeteria also comes off this farm and is also finished on these solar feeders. That's why I need more of them. And so it's all direct to customer beef sales. I love doing it. This makes it a lot easier. I fill these things once a week rather than being out here every day trying to feed. Well, I don't know how many I got on right now, but it's probably close to 35 or 40 here.
Okay.
And
all right.
there's 30 over the hill. I've got replacement heifers that I'm growing on a different ration.
Got it.
I like the way they look better when
Yep.
they have extra protein in their
Conditioning
system.
and
and
their
it saves
score.
Me time. I mean, it's kind of it's an 800-acre operation here. We run about 250 head of cows all the time.
All right.
And there's 3 of us. So me, Dad, and my brother-in-law. And we all work full-time during the day. So how do we make that work? We have something else to feed them for us. And this is the best way we found to do it.
Well, that's a pretty compelling story. I appreciate the update on that.
Of course.
Good to have your brain on it, I guess, rather than mine. But it sounds like, for what you're doing, you're using it as kind of multifaceted, right? So
Yep.
you've got it for conditioning on replacement heifers as
Yep.
well as you're feeding out.
Yep.
Finishing out. Your market, is it primarily local that you?
It's fairly local, probably within an hour or 2 most of the time, but I've got
Right.
people that'll come 6-7 hours for a beef.
Okay.
I'm working on setting up a website and doing some online sales so I can reach more people
Right.
and expand, and that's kind of the point of having a 4th and maybe even more next year.
Right.
We also do seed stock stuff, so I'll sell those 30 heifers. I've got 30 more to wean this weekend, and I'll probably sell half of them. But I want them to look pretty and act
Yep.
right and all
Yep.
sorts of things. So condition them for sale there, and then I also sell commercial and registered Angus bulls to customers, and that's what this 4th feeders for. It's going to go right down here across the creek.
Yep.
And I've got 25 of bulls that I weaned last weekend that are going to go on it. That's what I need it for.
Wow. So you guys are definitely staying busy regardless, because if it isn't one facet, it's another that you're
got irons
paying
in every
attention.
fire
Yeah.
when it comes to cattle.
And a lot of fires going the way it looks. How do you fill the feeder?
So I've got this overhead bin over here.
Okay.
That white one. That's
Yep.
a 12-ton
All right.
overhead bin. With these trailer mounts, I just hook it up to my pickup truck. Just like, it looked just about like yours is right now.
Yep.
And I pull under it and fill it up from there. No big
Okay.
deal. With
All right.
that stationary model,
Yeah.
I have to grab that skid steer over there with the pallet forks on it. And I like it because it's a lot quicker. I don't have to raise the legs or hook up anything. I can do it all by myself. And it saves a lot of time, especially if we're doing it in the dark.
Yep.
I just turn on a machine, pull it over here, drop the fence down. I'll pick it up, carry it over there, fill it up, pick it up, carry it back. And I don't have to go through the hassle of setting the legs right and making it level.
Right.
And that just makes it real easy, especially if we're right here next to the overhead bin.
You bet. You've got everything right here, so you're not moving around from pasture to pasture.
No, not really. The most I move this one is from here to there.
Okay.
That new stationary model is going to replace that one.
Got it.
And I'm going to put that trailer mount a little further down the road.
All right.
Because these are they're heavier than I was anticipating them to be when they're full.
Okay.
And so it gets a little tippy. A 75 horse tractor wouldn't even think about picking up a full one.
All right.
And my 100 horse tractor without any counterweight on it was so much so that I
A
didn't
little front heavy.
do it again. And so that's a 95 horse skid steer.
Yep.
I think it has close to a 6,000 pound lift capacity. I'm not positive.
Okay.
But that'd be about the minimum I think you need to pick one of these up if you're going to move it while it's full.
Got it.
If you had a feed truck, I would have all stationary.
No
I'd
problem.
Just have somebody drive through and fill them up.
And just fill. Yeah. Yep.
I've got where I buy this feed in town, he delivers it to me. And if these feeders are empty, he'll top them off with his truck.
Okay.
So I don't have to pull them under here every
Yep.
time.
Yep.
But I have to buy so much feed at a time to get him to deliver it.
Yep.
It's not really rational for him to fill it every time they're empty.
Exactly.
But that's how we do it.
These things full would weigh, I think the feeder itself, the stationary is around 1,200 pounds, maybe 1,100 plus 2,000 plus. So you're talking 3,500 pounds thereabouts, full. But what is there any? A lot of people will look at solar feeders, automatic feeders, first of all, generally for the first time, and then they find it to our website. They find their way to our website and they call me or they fill out the lead form. And then, of course, I call them. One of the biggest hurdles we have is just the initial cost. It's a little bit of a sticker shock for a lot of people, especially with steel prices. It actually went for, I was just talking to one of the guys in the plant this morning. Steel prices literally doubled from 2019, 20 to 2022. Hopefully they're a little bit on the way down again, but
depends on our tariff situation next year.
Right. A lot of people are not, they're unsure about that. So how do you justify these? I mean, I know you can, it sounds like, if you lose one to bloating, and that's pretty easy,
there's a
pretty quick.
Loss right there.
Yeah, I mean, as far as replacement heifers and some stuff that's maybe not quite so measurable, how do you justify spending $10,000 on a feeder?
I justify it by, I fill these things once a week, and I see these cattle every day that I want to see them, but I only have to come and feed them once a week, and this thing feeds them for me the rest of the time. If I had to do it, it gives me the opportunity to have an accounting degree and have a day job. Same with my dad, who's a physical therapist, and same with my brother-in-law who works for my dad. Nobody has to be here full-time to feed them. If I had to hire somebody to feed these things every day of the year-round, it'd cost me a heck of a lot more than that.
Right.
I mean, we're talking, nobody wants to work for less than 40 grand a year now anyways, and they definitely won't work on a farm for less than 40 unless they really love it. And so if it would have taken me 3, 4, 5 hours a day to feed these things, especially the amount of times they're getting fed, because I've got this going off 6 times a day. Every single one of them goes off 6 times a day.
You do, okay.
That one goes off 7, 8 seconds a time because it's on the finished ration. This one's just 2 or 3 seconds, but still they all get fed 6, 7 times a day.
Okay.
And it's consistent and they all know what's happening. So if I had to hire somebody to do that 5 hours a day for 365 days, it cost me more than that. And so just the labor cost alone saves me tons of money.
Labor costs alone, and a peace of mind that, and of course, you can control things pretty well with this.
I can set it all, their consumption, I can get it pretty close to exactly what I want it to be.
Right.
I can also go on vacation. I don't have to be here to feed them.
Yep.
If I leave on vacation on a Sunday, I'll fill these all up on Saturday, come back on the next Saturday. After a week of vacation, everything's just fine. I got automatic waterers, automatic feeders. Nobody skipped a beat, and nobody was here. So
piece of cake, yeah.
Peace of mind. It's
Yep.
it's just simple.
And you can't hardly find anybody these days. There used to be the old weekend, I'll ask the neighbor or the neighbor kid or whatever, and you just can't. That just doesn't happen these days.
Especially not in this
No.
field of study.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot of farmers. I mean, if you can find somebody that you trust to take care of it, it's because they have their own stuff they're doing too.
Right.
And so now you're just adding to their cake, and it's just not feasible.
Not feasible, yeah. I was going to ask you. Oh, the thing I was going to ask you was you said you're setting it now for the max, which is six feedings per day. And you mentioned you have how many head in here?
Shoot, there's probably 15 to 18
on each feeder.
Yeah, but I've had up to 35.
35. Now, with feeding more often rather than 2 times a day, do you think you can get more head fed per feeder?
That's how the math works.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got 32 foot of bunk space. Instead of, if I do it twice a day, that's 64 foot of bunk space.
Yeah.
If I do it 6 times a day,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not that great at math. I'm an accountant, but I'm not that great at math. But not on the top of my head.
Better than me, but it's
100 feet of bunk space each time.
Okay.
As long as they can all squeeze their head around it. I think your website says, I think 18.
18 and maybe 20.
If you're trying to finish them.
Yep.
And I've finished closer to 25 on one at a time.
Interesting.
The way I have it set up though is my butcher dates are kind of staggered every couple of weeks.
Right.
So if I have 30 on it, great. But I'm only killing 5 of them at a time.
Right.
And so it goes from 30 to 25, and then from 25 to 20.
Yeah.
And those ones that got bullied off of it, now they're the big man on campus, and they can eat all they want for 3 or 4 weeks till the next date comes around.
There you go.
And that's what I found works best for me.
Okay.
Get all the bullies out of the way first, the bigger ones, because they're going to eat more anyways. And then as you slowly cut down, and now that I have multiple pens that I do it, this is kind of my teaching them how to eat pen.
Yep.
I've learned that they need to do that too. A lot of them don't. Well, they don't know what this is because I don't have it with my herd of cattle. They know it sounds weird and it smells good, but they'll figure out how to eat. And then once I get their legs up under them and get their gut accustomed to the ration, then we'll put them on a hotter one so it doesn't just run right through them.
Got it. How long does it take them to belly up to the bar, so to speak? When you first put it in there, so it's brand new to the.
Brand new, 2 days.
Couple days, yeah.
They'll smell of it if the wind's blowing good enough, and especially with weaned calves that are walking around and crying the whole time, they run into it enough that they'll figure out what it is.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of these calves in here for less than a week. Same with the replacement heifers over there, but they're already accustomed to the timer going off.
All right.
And they just come running if they're hungry.
Yep.
But it don't take very long. It takes probably closer to a month or 2 to get them where I'm ready for them to go on the hot ration, though. If I'm really trying to push them through.
Right.
I leave them on the low ration for as long as possible until I get close to that crunch time, and then put them on that higher ration. Save me a little bit of money too.
Switch them over.
Yeah.
Anything? Well, I appreciate all the feedback. It's fantastic. It looks like you've thought this through very well.
Got a lot of planning in it.
Right, and I'm sure there's a lot of trial and error, as you go through. But is there anything you'd like to leave the audience with as it relates to, hey, make sure you think about this, or you do this or don't do that when it comes to automatic feeding or just feeding in general?
When it comes to picking out a model, I just make sure you got the equipment to pick it up if you're going to move it while it's full.
Good to know.
It's definitely something that I thought I had plenty of lift capacity, and I've only got one machine on the farm that'll do it.
It'll do it.
So if you're wanting to get a stationary, I really like it because it saves me. I mean, I can fill one of those up 15, 20 minutes now that I do it all the time.
Yep.
But that's pulling the truck in, backing it up. Of course, I push all these cows in the corral and get them out of my way.
Sure.
Back it up to it, hook up the hitch, pick up all the legs. This one I can do in 5 minutes.
Gosh,
I turn on a key,
right,
and I don't hardly get back out of the thing.
Tractor, you just the.
That's real easy.
Skid steer.
It's just you got to have the lift capacity for it.
Okay.
I've underestimated my ability to move them.
Got it.
So that's why, but I still bought another one.
Yep.
Because I can make it work here because I'm right here.
You're right here.
I wouldn't want to move them.
Yeah.
You know,
across the pasture.
Yeah, it's 2 miles to another field over there. I wouldn't want to drive down the road with my skid steer in a full one of these.
Yep.
You can trailer it over there, it'd be no big deal. But
Got it.
if you're going to trailer one, might as well buy one with wheels on it.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yep.
But,
and it's a permanent mount, so I mean they're solid. They can roll down
a
the road.
I've beat this one up a little bit, so I ain't worried about it. The only thing I've drug when I first filled it up, didn't know what I was doing. I was dragging the legs. I didn't realize it, and I was like, man, I probably bent those, and I got out here. Didn't
and they were fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
They could take the weight of this whole thing and a skid steer pushing on it without me even knowing it. Just dug a hole in the ground.
Wow.
So that was great.
Good to know. Well, Jake, it's a pleasure, and appreciate the words of wisdom, and we'll keep up with you as you grow and mature in the business, and sure appreciate it. And I hope this goes out to 1 million people. But
sounds great.
All right, buddy.
Especially if they want some beef.
You got it. There you go. Yeah, call Jake for your accounting and your beef needs.
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook, 5 Hills Ranch on Facebook.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.